back in New York. Women's preferred matches is what they call it now. On the Race for 8 Tour, round of 16. Dave Vincent alongside Jessica Gawley. Jessica, we call it the preferred matches now when they give you the bonus coverage, the round of 16, where we could easily just opt to stay with ESPN on Saturday and Sunday, but we light up the candle here on Friday and give you some of the preferred select round of 16 matches. Just to try to make sure we iron out the kinks.
McMahon from Ireland and Shirley Chen from New York. You guys ready?
Okay, that's our announcement.
0 serve 0.
We have a lefty here, and that's why we have you in the booth. I saw that ball good.
So did I. I've never seen Martina play before,
She's
so
good.
This will be the first.
No, she's good. As you can see, she hits the ball pretty hard. 2-wall pass. I don't know how anybody can get that back. So
it's a very nice shot.
1 serve 0.
I'm impressed. But then again, you know, how could you not be impressed with Ireland?
True.
Everything they do is great.
They play a lot of handball.
Point.
Oh, and Shirley just missed that one.
Now, Shirley Chen had a pretty, I guess you would say it was a pretty good run there. In San Francisco, she lost to Yvonne August in a playoff match, 25-23, which I thought was impressive.
3
because
serve 0.
That shows you the level of player that she could be. But really quickly here, the current national champion in doubles for the women this past year with USHA, Martina McMahon.
Oh, and Shirley had a big miss there, Dave.
Has a
She
quick,
might be a little nervous.
yeah, 5-0 lead here.
5 serve 0. Short.
And I believe you guys are on the same side of the bracket.
We are.
Second serve.
Yes,
you
we
know,
are.
isn't it funny about Ireland? Players will come over here that you don't necessarily know or follow or track, and they're just as good as the next one that came over a week earlier.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Throughout all the years, Irish handball has always produced really good players, and a lot of them don't get that opportunity to come over into North America to play unless it's at a world event or at a nationals.
Or New York.
Or New York.
But look at that left hand.
Yeah, and she's still quite young in age. Oh.
She's a tall lefty, hits the ball hard. And you know, the style seems sort of like baseball. Like you, but when you talk to an Irish person about baseball, they I don't know, you put a mitt on your hand and you catch a ball.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
Hold it. Let's play it again.
And Shirley she is very, very tiny, but she hits the ball extremely hard for her size.
1 serve 5.
I think that's from playing one wall. These players just throw their body into the ball, and I would think that if I were young again and learning handball for the first time, I'd just go out and play one wall just to learn that serve, because you see guys like John Iglesias, Shorty Ruiz, Mondo Ortiz, pound for pound, some of the hardest hitters, you know, because they just throw their body into the ball.
True.
Point.
Another ace there for Martina.
6 serves 1.
Well, I find it impressive. It wasn't the perfect kill shot in the left corner.
You have a minute.
That was what we found strange about your match against, well, you know, or I should say your run to the finals in San Francisco, Jessica, as we talked to Jessica Gawley, finalist last stop in San Francisco. But you played so well. Your left corner kills were like the best I can recall. You're now 40, I believe, or 39. And I remember watching you play 20 years ago, and you had that shot, but I just don't remember it looking as good as the earlier rounds in San Francisco. But I would say your semifinals and even quarterfinal matches, which I watched every shot that you make, that left corner kill looked brilliant.
It was.
I mean, you really have to say that. Am I wrong?
No, it felt fantastic.
And I thought, okay, wait a second. If that person shows up against Katrina, I was actually thinking something could happen here, but that one didn't happen.
Not show up.
Because is it Katrina not giving you a chance to make those shots?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And I talked to Katrina after the game, and I felt bad because there were lots of opportunities that I had in the match to make good shots, and I was just off that day and just couldn't put the ball away. And And she knew that, and she said, like, she was very surprised based on how I played in the semis against Tracy, because that shot was working really well for me. And I had lots of opportunity, and I just couldn't convert on them. And
8 serves 1.
And that's when it starts to get extremely frustrating when you're playing, right? When you play really, really good leading up to the final, and then I just couldn't do anything with it. And
it's almost like a bigger letdown in a way, because you kind of fool yourself saying, yeah, you know, it's rolling. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing everything right. I'm subscribing to that medicine, you know, and everything's good. And then all of a sudden it all falls apart. It's a bigger letdown almost.
Yeah, and it's extremely tough because Katrina's such a good player, and she's so humble about her abilities on the court. And I felt like I almost not only let myself down, but let her down, because you come all the way and you want to play in a final. And, you know, good on her, because she told me she wouldn't let up. Like, she's, you know, she knows that you can't let up in a match to 15 because anything can happen. And unfortunately, I didn't play very good, and hopefully this weekend I play better than that.
Well, I mean, with that said, at 40, can you learn something from someone who's 20, 21?
Absolutely.
Do you think you learned something there from her attitude, saying, hey, I came here and I don't feel good, so I'm going to fight through it? I know you're, you know, not making excuses in advance, but you're probably at the all-time worst right now physically because of, you know, the things that are going on, and you have to say, you know, I have to pull a Katrina here. You know, I might not have ever thought about this previously, but I just learned from the #1 player in the world, or, you know, number 2, if you go by the World Championships, that you have to fight through it and try to make it work. And
yeah, definitely. I've had a rough day today, as you know, but I'm hoping that I feel better tomorrow morning, and hopefully turning around in the corners, I'm not going to fall over being dizzy.
20
but
seconds. Here we go.
yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the matches tomorrow, and they're going to be good matches all the way around, because we've got these Irish girls that have come in that haven't played in our tour before, that are phenomenal players. So look for great games.
You just never know, because you don't know how to match them up. And, you know, another crazy thing we saw earlier, Dave Fink loses to a just turned 18-year-old Colin Crehan from Ireland. Talking to some of the Irish players, they don't even know who he is. I mean, that's how good Ireland has. I don't think people realize that they have a farm system. Now, Crehan comes in here and defeats formerly ranked #2 player in the world, Dave Fink. And not in convincing fashion. Dave won the first game 15-1. But he defeated him. Now he's in the quarterfinals. So, you know, as much as people could be upset about seeds, and, you know, you just never know.
You never know.
You have to still play the games.
And you got to beat the best to win. So.
And for those that are watching at home, Shirley Chen is a 1-wall player, and she's converting to 4-wall, and she's really not bad. But McMahon
she's picking on that left side of Shirley's, and that's her weakness.
Look how strong she is with that left kill.
You guys have 3 minutes.
And there's a quick handshake there as they both exit. But, you know, talking about learning, I've talked to some people that were aging, more specifically my broadcast partner, about this. He said, no, you learn everything you'll ever learn at 17. I disagree with that. I actually think that at 40, at 36, at 30, you can get something that, you know, it's sort of like a video game when you get extra lives because you went into that little cabin and opened it up, pulled the chest out, and then took your hidden key and opened it up, and they gave you some more.
Have you been playing with your kids' video games, Dave?
It's just a fantasy.
It's a fantasy world.
It's a fantasy thing that I do with a bunch of guys on the weekend. No, but, you know, when you go in there and you get that little, you know, little extra mojo. Well, I kind of sometimes feel that that's the way our handball careers are, because even though you say, I really wish the 26-year-old body was me, but the 40-year-old brain stays on that body.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you always are learning in this game.
I think so. I think you can learn something from every game that you play. And if you don't learn something from it, I don't think you're taking away the opportunities that you have.
Like, I feel like what happened in San Francisco between you and Katrina Casey in the finals, if you were able to say, to take 30 minutes to go sit in a hot tub, just 30 minutes.
Yes. And
you say, you know what? I'm going to go in there. You would do so much better, right?
Yeah.
It's learning just from off.
It was learning, yeah. And I know I've watched Katrina play lots, and I've played her a few times now, and she's consistent. She doesn't make errors, and you either have to capitalize on the setups you get, or you don't get points. And my dad said to me after, it's hard to score a point. He's like, yeah, you got 0, which everybody knows. But he said you can't score a point unless you serve. And in the one game, I think I served once.
I think you served 4 in the whole
In the whole match, I served 4 times. So really, I had the opportunity to get 4 points. And so it's hard to get points if you can't serve, and you can't get into serve unless you capitalize on the shots she gives you, because she's not going to make mistakes during the rally.
Yeah, so if you take the scoreboard down and you turn the audio off, which most people prefer to do anyway, you could watch it and not. Someone said, you know, what is the score? They would go 11 and 9. You know, okay, so. Like Sean Lenning said, you watched the video preview that came out with Sean Lenning and the WPH.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so like Sean said, it's not what you think, because you're talking about extended rallies that end with the other person winning the majority of the time, but you couldn't, you know, it's not really the same. It's a thin line between, you know, the other person winning that rally and then winning the. You have to win 2 rallies in a row to get a point.
Yeah, and
you know,
and that was my problem with Katrina, is I just couldn't do it.
You can't do it. You know, sometimes it's hard against her. Now,
Shirley serving, score is 0, serve 0.
We get into game number 2 here, but you know, I have to admit this. I've played Katrina multiple times when we were in Tucson. Of course, I have. I have a problem with the elbow and have Tommy John surgery scheduled to happen here in the next couple weeks. But and it was during a time when it was really bad. But we did play a lot of times because it would having only one arm and harm also and playing hers very similar. You know, it's like, hey, we've evened it out. We should be 21-20 every time we play, because I'm kind of a broken wing. And we decided, you know, every other day type thing. And the first time we played, it was 21-20. And I said, this girl really can play good, because, you know, I did think to myself, I was playing hard. And then I decided that I was going to play a little bit harder, and let's see how this arm will react to this, which was not a good thing. But I found it very difficult to score points off of her, because she was able to adapt and also find weaknesses. And I really admire the Irish, because they almost seem to have that all pre-programmed in as players. You know, their coaching is so well, obviously, because they take a lot of that into consideration. It's almost like everything that can be thrown at you in your life, we're going to teach you when you're 13 or 12 or 11. And you and I, both being over here in North America, we learned this at 35, right?
Yeah.
And we had some weird conversation on a plane with Dave Chapman, you know, at 35 years old, and you go, I've never had anybody tell me that. It is the greatest thing I've ever heard, and I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, yeah, that's, why didn't I ever think about that?
Why didn't I ever think of that,
Programmed,
the
11.
Programs, And the Irish have, they're very passionate about handball over there. And from being over in Ireland a few times playing, their depth of handball and the players that they have is unreal. I don't think anyone, unless you've been over there, can actually describe the way that the Irish run their programs and the depth that they have. And these girls play. Most people know that, I mean, between work and my kids now, I don't have much time to play. But even when I didn't have kids and I had the freedom to go down to the courts and play, guys at home play once a week. That's playing handball to people. Playing handball for the people in Ireland is playing once or twice a day. And we see that with Katrina when she talks about playing, you know, playing multiple games in one day. For us, you go down and playing handball is going down and playing for an hour. And that's your game for the week. So it's just a different mentality, I think, over there. Is handball is extremely important, and when they train to win. And that's why we see the depth of the players that we have that get to come over.
And there's another point for Martina.
4, serve 0.
Martina's really nice. Also, Sienna Nee Kareen.
Yeah, I haven't met Sienna yet, but I saw Martina in the change room before this match, and we were talking, and
is that what you women call that room? We call it
change room.
Yeah. Well, because I've seen guys just right around the corner just take off their clothes right where they're standing, and you call it a change room.
Well, we actually do have a.
You have a door that actually locks
closes
and everything.
Here. Yeah.
Okay, with lockers.
No, there's no lock, but there is a
yeah.
little room where you can get undressed.
I don't. Is that a small C or is that a CH? Is one? Is that a?
That's a K.
Is that like a P and an F following it? I don't know how that word works out. Is that a Canadian thing?
Change room.
Change room.
Sorry.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway,
anyways,
you saw her,
I was talking to Martina
because
so I introduced myself to her because I've never met her before, and she was telling me that she didn't come over to the collegiates this year because of school, and I asked her if she was going.
That doesn't make sense. I didn't come to the collegiates because of the college. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that's what she said.
I didn't go to the collegiates because I'm in college. Well,
and
which is a prerequisite of getting.
I was asked her if she was going to come to Salt Lake next month because it'd be great to have her come to Salt Lake to compete.
Duh.
And her concern is she's not sure if she can get away from school because of college.
Well,
so
there's a thing called a bomb threat. I don't know if you've ever used that one.
No, I haven't. I haven't actually.
I know you're a police officer,
That's
so
probably not a good thing to do.
This might not be the greatest thing to say to a police officer.
So anyone listening, if her college has a threat called in next week, contact Dave Vincent. Yeah, so I'm trying to get her to come over next month because it can be another great opportunity for them to come play and make the draw depth even greater.
Martina serving 7 serve 0.
So big lead here for her.
7-0 here.
And as we were talking earlier with my match against Katrina and your matches against her, turning the audio off and the scoreboard off. In this match, though, you can see it's serve, return, point. Not a lot of rallying going on here. Ooh, little miss there by her.
Well, you know, we haven't seen anybody exploit her right hand yet.
No, that's one of the first right-handed shots she's tried to take.
She didn't get that back to the front wall either, and there's a point. So we see a weakness with her offhand, but her strong hand looks damn good.
It does.
I'd say, pardon my French, but
playing another lefty.
I'd say, pardon my French, but you Canadians, you French Canadians,
I
don't think that's offensive. Is it really offensive?
Well, I'm not French.
Okay.
Right, Dave?
Side out.
I don't speak
I just
French,
assumed that all the Canadians
speak French.
Well, no?
No.
Okay.
8 serves 1.
It is our second language. And
well,
when you fly to Canada, they have to do the safety demonstration in French and English.
Oh, my.
Second serve.
But I personally do not speak French. I took grade 10 French.
Okay.
Point.
That was it.
They gave me the option of taking French or computers.
Really?
Yeah, so guess what I did?
Computers.
Dropped out of school.
Dropped out of school.
So.
Point.
To play baseball, of course.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that.
10 serves 1.
We're at 10-1 here. We're going to 15. This is our last broadcast match. You know, as we have just 5 points. That looked like a 2 bounce, and it was.
Good call.
But
side out.
As we have 5 points, do you like seeing women's matches equal in the sense that we have,
10.
you know, as we're trying to get as many, obviously round of 16, there's only a couple round of 16 matches for women, and there's only a small window of time to do it in. But do you like seeing the broadcast of women's matches, or you say, you know, we probably shouldn't be broadcasting these, you know?
No.
As a women's player that loves the game.
As a women's player, I think that it's really nice. I know you guys are trying to keep everything quite equal between the men and the women, even though there's a lot more men that play in the tournaments.
Side out.
I think it's great exposure for women's handball, and especially being able to see the Irish people back home probably really appreciate being able to see their Irish females playing.
Short. Second serve.
What do you think about that?
Hold it.
There's a little screen. Kind of strange screen, but one nonetheless. But what do you think of the power of some players that you watch?
10 serves 1.
Where they generate power where you say, how did I not get that? Because I don't.
That power?
Yeah.
I ask myself that when I play someone like Shirley, because she's so little. She doesn't look super strong, but she hits the ball really hard. And she hits the ball harder than I hit the ball, I think, and I'm probably double her size in muscular strength.
1 serves 10.
I think that, like you said, she throws her whole upper body into it, and playing from one wall, you just kind of develop some more power sometimes. And
point.
Unfortunately, at this stage in the game, I'm not going to be able to change the way that I've learned how to play.
That's your first timeout. You have a minute.
Or hit the ball at least.
But why do we think as handball players that we can, even at an older age?
Because we want to be able to.
Yeah, but we think we can.
We think we can.
Like,
but does it not hurt your shoulder to overswing?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, well,
your
that's
elbow
strange.
now?
Yeah, for me, I thought I could, but it didn't. That's actually the whole problem with my elbow, is that I thought I could do what you just said. It's like, you know, I'm playing Luis Moreno in practice like 8 or 9 times, you know, 8 or 9 games a day, sometimes every day, and I said to myself, he's doing what I used to do back when I was 20-something, so let me just go ahead and do it again. Like, it's, you know, no big deal.
Pop your elbow.
now doctor says 2 years you're not going to be playing the game.
That's not good.
210.
So you have nothing else to do except
All right, you guys ready?
A fantasy league
promote handball.
video game,
Promote
open the
handball.
chest,
Yeah, open
put
the
the
chest,
key
put
in,
the key in.
and then promote handball.
Long. Hold it. Second serve.
It'll be interesting to see when Martina now will play into Danielle, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
And they're both lefties.
2 serves,
Yeah,
10.
a lot of lefties in the
Got 3
lower
lefties in the
bracket.
bottom bracket, right? So it'll be interesting to see how those serves, if she can get them down the right. And Danielle's got 2 great, fantastic hands. So that will be a great match tomorrow to watch.
It'll be fun. Yeah, the quarterfinals are fun.
The quarterfinals are going to be some tough matches.
Side out.
Fun quarterfinals, as they say.
Fun.
10 serves, 2. Point.
Oh, and Shirley just misses that off the back wall again.
11 serves, 2.
The score is 11-2.
Point.
Now 12. Another ace. No, I wouldn't, not really, shouldn't call that an ace. That was just another miss by Shirley.
Maybe an unforced error
Well,
because of a
unforced error.
great serve.
Yes.
But
If you watch her serve, it is
Short.
popping
Hold
off the
it.
wall.
Sorry, that was short ball.
quite a bit.
Second serve.
yeah, but she's
That one was
serving.
short then.
She's serving over there because Shirley is right-handed. So going to the offhand. So
Right.
yeah, it is popping off, but
Shirley's offhand, her left is not strong enough to
Point.
get that back with a good response. So
if you're getting points off of it, you just
Keep
stick with it,
doing
even
it.
if it is
Yes.
flawed to other people. But
13 serves, 2.
what would you do as the #2 ranked player on the Pro Tour right now with that serve to the left? Would you open fist it to the roof, or
no, I would personally, well, because I'm left-handed though, I would
Point.
try to just kill that ball coming
Yeah.
back because it's popped off quite a bit, right? Or wrap
so
it around
you'd have
the
to
right.
step back, let it drop
and
go for it?
I
Okay,
would go for
timeout.
it.
But even with her serving,
Second, do
With
you want
her
to take a
serving.
30 or
Okay.
a
Yeah,
60?
I would, but it might not be the smartest
You have
decision.
30 seconds
I'd
or
probably try it a
60
couple
seconds,
times, and if
whichever
it
one.
Let's
wasn't
see if
working,
it'll
then I
work,
would
yeah.
switch to a fist to the
so you
ceiling.
wouldn't
or a
go
wrap.
all 10 cup on this.
No,
Okay, so what about trying to return the ball so the ball goes back down the right wall?
that's
as a
yeah.
return
You could
server?
you could also just do a nice right pass down the right side and push Martina back into that right corner and force her to just pop the ball back up, and hopefully, if you're looking shots ahead, she would have to be deep in that right corner and pop it back up, back down that left side, and set you up with a nice option to either kill the ball or pass her again on the left.
Isn't that what's really strange about this game is that if you serve to your opponent's left, which would be their offhand if they're right-handed,
Yes.
okay? So if you're righty and they serve to your left, but you're a lefty,
Right.
so their natural return would be to your offhand. So you're serving to their offhand, but then they return it most likely than not
Here you go,
to
Dave.
your offhand.
Yes.
Odd game, isn't it?
it's odd, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to serve it to your bad hand, but
Hand.
you are naturally going to also hit it back to
Back
mine
down
if you get it
to
back.
the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So what do you work on first? How to return the serve or how to first strike with your offhand? Which one's the one that you
well, that's
you try to
that's a
develop
tough
for
question.
in Ireland?
I think when
everything's
younger
equal.
I think when you're younger you learn to do a defensive shot off the serve return because that's
Right.
what you're taught, because that's what you're
14.
supposed to
possible
do
game
is
and
go
match point.
defensive, but
Serves 2.
Well, I've played Sean Lenning, and I served it to his offhand, and he hit the ball 1 inch high.
yes, that's
And it's like, well, they don't. The guys I play don't do that, sir.
right.
We're going to play like that forever.
Here we are at game point.
But it's not going to make the front wall, and it
no.
doesn't, and
That
it's a
didn't make
side
it.
out,
2.
and
Side out.
Shirley is back in.
Shirley has an option or an opportunity here to get another point.
2 serves, 14.
Let's see what she does with a serve.
I like that serve. It just happened
It
to
just
pop out.
it
I don't
did
know
pop
how,
out.
but it did.
It looked like it was going to come straight and hit the back corner.
Yeah, you're right.
Point.
Shirley just has this weird sort of trigger on her gun that she
Yes.
pulls.
And she
3
hits it
serves,
very hard.
14.
So, and of course, watching it here as opposed to being in the court, you can't quite tell how hard they're actually hitting it.
Right.
It's much faster and harder when you're actually in there with the court. But
Side out.
wonderful shot there from Martina.
Martina now at game match point.
14. Possible game and match point. Serves
She's
3.
changing it back and going back down to her drive serve down the left.
I don't blame her. Oh, and it hits a crack. I like that shot right there, inside out down the right wall. This one right here should be the match, and
Big
is.
setup. Yes, it is.
Point. That's
As
game and
Martina
match,
doesn't
right,
miss
girls?
from
Good
there,
job.
No.
and I believe we are done with our live broadcast for this evening. I hate to go.
Yes.
It's been so much fun.
It has been, Dave.
But there's so much more handball to be played here at the New York Athletic Club. All of the first round losses for the men, all their playoff matches tonight. So if you qualified today, you went through 1-2 rounds plus your round of 16 and now back into a playoff. 4 matches in one day.
That's a lot of handball in
What
one
is
day.
This, big ball at Pico Rivera?
That's what it feels like. Yeah. You might as well not shower between matches.
That's why when people say, why do you guys do that 1 game to 25? That's why.
Yes.
When it's all of a sudden 8 o'clock on a Friday night and you're stuck in
handball
a sweaty athletic club.
Which is very hot here.
Trying to get an invite to Salt Lake City. I mean,
yes.
We found out there's some implications here in the men's.
Really?
Where Marco Chavez said, you know, I don't play in playoffs, so I'm not going to play in this playoff match. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Bright, you know
Mr.
who.
Fink.
Yeah. He said, well, you and Danny Cordova are tied for that automatic invite to Salt Lake City, which means that you also qualify for bonus money.
Money talks.
You're playing each other. You just give them the match. You're just saying, sorry, I'm not taking this invite.
Here's your money.
So now other things could happen, like Nadia Alvarado, for example, could win the tournament still and maybe pass both of those guys. But, I mean, in reality, these guys are having to fight for that invite to the Players' Championship. A Players' Championship you've been at since we started doing it. And you know, certainly every year it gets a little bit better. Hopefully you'll make this next one. We saw Martina McBride. I said Martina McBride.
You did say Martina McBride.
Independence Day? What are we going to listen to here? A little country music?
Yes.
Martina McMahon. Please don't Google that.
No.
Don't Google Martina McBride and Independence Day. It's spelled I-N-D-E. Don't do that.
I think you're getting a little tired, Dave,
no,
from being on here all day and not having any food.
I don't know what day it is. I said Friday earlier. I'm not sure if it really is.
It is Friday.
But Martina McMahon,
yes,
she just defeated Shirley in 2 straight. And then we're going to take a really good 10 to 12 hour break.
And we'll be back tomorrow with some really good matches.
My production.
14 hours?
You said 14 and 0.15.
14.17.
0.25.
0.25.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I know you're from Canada, so you don't convert the same way that we do here in the greater 50 states of America. Wonderful place. We're going to take a break.
Yes.
We'll be back tomorrow on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. For Jessica Gawley, my name is Dave Vincent, as well as the crew that helped with this broadcast today. Dave Fink, Chris Garrad, the anchor. He's my knight in shining armor. Linda Manning, Jeff Kastner, and Jean Kazumoto Kastner.
Yes.
We're going to say good night. Have a good day. Thanks for watching the live feed, racefreight.com.
Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.